Hello, everybody, and welcome. I think I had myself on two different search engines, and so I was hearing everything slightly off balance. Welcome to Enjoy the Show. This is going to be a phenomenal show tonight, all about women, and Brian is going to be the male protector, the mover awaiter.
God, what an honor. What an honor.
Absolutely. Tonight we have Lisa Harrison, and she's here on her birthday, and I feel so honored. So welcome, Lisa, and happy birthday to you, darling.
Well, thank you very much, and it's always an honor to be here with you.
Such an honor for us. And guess what, everybody? We also have Hope Girl. Welcome, Hope Girl. How are you, hon? She hasn't unmuted herself yet.
Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for having me. So excited to be here.
We're so excited to have you. This is going to be such a great show. We have so much. We have like this great information to share with you all. I'm hoping we're going to be able to do that. Just, you know, things are rolling out in such a fast way right now. It's all just like exploding open, and there's so much amazing, beautiful female energy that is kind of taking the reins and moving it forward. And I think that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. Hi, everybody on the chat room. So good to have you on here. And Jerry Jones is going to be coming on a little later on to read a poem or two for us, specifically for this day. And I think a little later on, in about an hour or so, we're going to have Chris Hales on as well. So I just want to thank you all for joining us and being a part of this show and being a part of the listening audience, because you're not just the listening audience. You send your energies in, and we all feel it. And it's just beautiful, and I can feel it right now, so thank you. Welcome, everybody.
Thanks, Judy.
Yeah.
Chris, thank you, man. Come here as quickly as possible. I will hopefully see you here real soon.
No, you're feeling a little bit outnumbered, Brian.
Brian, are you feeling a little weak in the knees or something?
I understand what Lisa feels like now. This is the only time I've ever been nervous before a show. All these powerful women here on the airwaves with me, and all the powerful. Looks like, gosh, a whole chat room full of powerful women online.
Oh yeah.
Just to kind of kick it out of the park here, as the only masculine representing host here for the show tonight, I just want to say, in all honesty, all joking aside, it is pretty amazing to watch so many wonderful and powerful women shine in all sorts of different ways. I mean, I think I really started to really pay it. I mean, I was one of those very fortunate souls that I grew up with under the care of an absolutely amazing mother, and my aunts and my grandmother were just such huge influences in my life. So they raised me well. They raised me to respect women and admire what all the things that you beautiful ladies do for us guys and the world on a daily basis. So I have that as part of my kind of genetic background since birth. But as far as like where we are now, it really, once Heather came along, it was just like, whoa, system overload. You got a woman with 4 kids. She jumps into the scene, and she did everything that she did, and it was like, holy freaking cow. And then all of a sudden now you got Hope and Judy and Lisa and now Kiri. It's like, holy shit. I just got to say it. Holy shit. It's the unbelievable how influential and how many game-changing women there are in the scene right now. It's and it's not for all the men out there that are like, holy shit, we got to hurry up and pull our weight. It's not even like that at all, because it's a balancing of the divine feminine with the divine masculine. And everybody.
A couple of women I'd like to add to the list, Brian.
And please do.
Oh yeah.
Dee.
Oh yeah, and oh my God, Dee is gonna kill me.
Hello, Dee.
I'm not mentioning her. Dee, I'm sorry. Oh my God, you're gonna be first on my list, and I forgot you. Not really, but I still love you, and you deserve to be on that list. But absolutely.
And who else?
Anne Bressington.
Yeah.
She's a politician here in Australia who's really made some waves.
Absolutely.
waking people up.
I'm going to put Bethany in there for spreading the word, as well as Bethany does online. I mean, really, the list can go on and on. I don't want anybody that listens to this right now or in the archive to feel left out, because I could name off every woman that I'm seeing go through this chat room right now and all the support and everything that they've done to contribute to everything that's been going on for the last few months. But from the bottom of my heart, as a man, I want to say I love all you girls so much, and I'm so grateful for everything that you have done and continue to do for the world. God bless you.
And Brian, I have to tell you, we absolutely, absolutely love your energy, and I know I'm speaking for the rest of us here. I know I'm doing it because I know I can. We are so honored to have you as a part of all of this, and you're such a wonderful balancing unit, and you have such a wonderful spirit, and I can't even tell you how honored I am to be your friend.
Oh, the feeling is mutual, Judy. And by the way, if I don't throw my fiance Brittany in there, she's absolutely going to kill me.
Well, I was wondering. all this.
But Judy, that means a lot to me. I'm very grateful. And but this is your girl's show, so I'm going to go ahead and silently kind of move myself to the side for a few moments and let you do your thing.
Okay, see you in about 2 seconds.
Yeah, nice.
Oh, so Lisa, my dear. How is your birthday going? It's like really early in the morning for her, everybody.
It's not that early. It's 9 o'clock, so I've had breakfast.
Oh, okay.
I was made French toast for breakfast. So
you got your cup of coffee. I got my glass of wine.
No. Yeah, it's a little early.
It's Lisa's birthday. I guarantee you she's got a glass of wine too. Don't count her out. It's 9 a.m. In Australia, after 7, you're allowed your first cocktail. All right,
Hey, it's always 1 o'clock somewhere in the world.
It's 1 o'clock exactly. Oh, that's so cool. So let's go ahead and bring Hope Girl in and just to say hello and to introduce yourself to those of our listening audience who haven't yet maybe been introduced to you, the 2 or 3 maybe. Hope Girl is doing some absolutely wonderful, wonderful things for this world. She's got the Fix the World Foundation, and she's been working really, really hard this past year to make a big difference, and she's like coming gangbusters onto the scene right now. So welcome, Hope.
Thank you so much for having me. I had to keep myself muted because I couldn't stop laughing through that entire introduction there. Brian, we don't bite. It's okay.
I'm sure you do, just not too much. That's okay too.
But it's an absolute pleasure to be here, and it's wonderful to see powerful women coming up in this world, and so many of the things that we've been doing, and the beautiful men who have stepped up to support that energy that's coming through. And like Brian said, it's a rebalancing of the masculine and feminine, and when you have that balance, that's where the power is. And it's so beautiful to see these things coming forward, and I'm just so excited to be alive right now. So thanks for having me, and I can't wait for this conversation. Great.
You are so right on, girl. This is a rebalancing. This is definitely the time when we're all kind of finding the balance within ourselves, because we have both within ourselves, and it's time to kind of come to the central point with the dark and the light, and the male and the female, and the yin and the yang, and all of that, and find our central balance, and then find it with others. I think we have to have it within before we can actually find it without, for real, honestly. And I think a lot of people are doing that right now, and I couldn't be more excited about being alive right now myself. So yay for all of us.
Absolutely. There's no other party in town, that's for sure.
That is true.
There is. They just kind of stink.
There's no one there. The music's boring.
It's like, come on, it's so much more fun over here.
Well, we keep hearing that it's standing room only up there to get in, so there's got to be a reason.
Yeah, absolutely. We were hoping to get Carrie on tonight, and I think she is overwhelmed with everything that's going on. Who knows? We still may be able to get her on before the end of the show, but as it stands,
well, I do have that message to put out, which is via Kiri as well. So I can
really
do that now.
Looking forward to doing that. Why don't we go ahead and make that happen? Lisa just got a message from, I think I read part of it before I got on here, and it's really amazing. So go for it, Lisa.
Well, this has come to me via a mutual friend of mine in Kiri's, and excuse me, I've got permission to read it out live. So it is, now is the time for the calls, and I apologise to the New Zealand listeners because I may be getting the pronunciation completely wrong. Now is the time for the calls to Hikoi, a conch trumpet in my ears. Funding is available from the One People. Use it and let's march. 200,000 women stand ready and waiting. The people will support $1 to $5 each. We need around 10 million to do it. It will be a world spectacle. David Icke's The People's Voice will cover it, plus independent videographers covering the 5 points of movement, with YouTube daily updates. The eyes of the world watching women with young in push chairs, prams, strollers, whatever you call them, marching from Wellington. The women march to cleanse and clear the land, to weep and laugh, and learn the chants and haka of Manawahini for delivery in Waitangi. Delivery of foreclosure flyers and courtesy notices into every corporate trader along the route. Rental of trucks and canvas cover if the army can't be commandeered into service for the people. The men clear the way for the women to pass through. We bring a wave of force from north, south, east and west to reveal the hidden things and camp on the people's lawn outside the big house. We shall not be moved. 8 weeks. Koha received and Koha given. Cleansing of the land. Difficult but true. It can be done to repurpose the TSB. Spring is the time for warfare. So this is what they're trying to pull together. At least 200,000 women to march in New Zealand.
Isn't that absolutely amazing? It blows my mind. The energies of the feminine energies coming in from all different directions to take back this world.
I'm sure it's similar in New Zealand. Here, the indigenous people here have what they call song lines, and it's their tracks, their paths through the country. And when they walk those paths, they sing songs, and they sing. The songs guide them. They're like instructions on where to go. And so they call them the song lines.
Wow. And
I imagine that that's what they're doing in New Zealand too. They're going to walk the song lines. And when you talk about the energetics, I mean, when the English first came here, they kidnapped a lot of the children and had the children walk the song lines, singing Christian prayer.
Ugh.
Because they knew that they had to overlay the energy.
Yeah.
You know. So doing something like this is incredibly important energetically.
Oh my goodness. That is such great information right there. You're right, it is. It's huge.
Wow.
That's what I
So if you didn't get the significance of what they're doing when you first heard when I read it out, I'll just have a think about that. Think about how whenever they've gone into taken over country, that's the sort of stuff they do energetically.
Yeah, all of our holidays, all of the Christian holidays are overlays of old pagan rituals.
Yep. So incredibly important.
Wow, what wonderful information, Lisa. Thank you.
Well, everybody's going to be wondering about that. We should probably look in and find out about that whole 8-week thing, because it's hard to tell. The way I understood it is that they're going to camp out on that lawn for as long as 8 weeks or as long as it takes. But I don't think that there's any date that's been set for this event that you can see on what you just read. Is that accurate?
It's still forming. So
still
if you're interested in participating or helping out in some way with the organisation, I'm thinking you could probably just get in touch with Kiri on Facebook if you haven't already, and get involved, because this.
I didn't even know New Zealand had 20,000 women that live in it.
200,000.
200,000 in it. Well, she's really coming out with a bang.
Sorry?
Kiri's really coming out with a bang.
Oh, this is a force to be reckoned with. She's not stopping.
Mm-hmm.
And just for those people who are on this show that may not know what's going on with Carrie, can any of you kind of give like a little synopsis of what just happened with her that she pulled out and created? This woman is so completely in touch with herself and understands who she is in such a way, and she understands the documents that were written through the One People or the OPPT, and man, did she put them into motion.
Go ahead, Lisa.
You want me to? Okay.
Yeah.
Carrie went through a process of putting together her own paperwork for depositing her value in one of her local banks in New Zealand. And she did a beautiful job. She laid the foundations. She notified Parliament and the bank and told them exactly of her intent. Sorry, I've got a train going past. Brian, take over.
So the one element she left out is when Lisa says depositing her value, she's not talking about going in and taking an X amount of dollars in cash and depositing it in her own bank account. What she had done is what Heather and others have been working on for the past over a year, which is depositing the value. Ooh, whoa! Did I get kicked off?
Oh, I hope not. No, you're there.
Somebody's ringing.
No, I'm sorry. I can't hear that, but I'm ringing Chris in because he's saying he was hoping for the whole show.
So anyway, there's Heather's working on a set of documents called the Declaration of Value that will allow people to go into the bank and essentially just the same way that banks create loans, which is creating money within the system, because no real money comes from anywhere, so it's not really a loan, it's not really debt, it's created based on the signature on the promissory note. The idea is restructuring the system to allow money to be created in the very same way, but where where the customer doesn't have to pay the money back because there is no loan. So in a roundabout way, it's redesigning and repurposing the entire way that banking is done. And this particular woman, Wonder Woman as I like to call her, Kiri, she wasn't waiting for Heather to finish the documents that she's getting ready. She went ahead and did this on her own and deposited $15 million of her own value into the bank. And notified everybody in the bank and the CEO all the way up to the CEO of what she was going to be doing, and went in, did the deposit, and it showed on her bank statement. And she the next day or 2 days later was charged for fraud, and went up against the system essentially in court on Tuesday, and basically punked the judge and punked the entire court because she knows her rights and she knows who she is so well that she was able to defend herself so well that there's nothing that they could do to her legally and lawfully, because she's no longer prescribing to her corporate fiction version of herself, because Kiri Campbell is the sole living being that is Kiri Campbell, and they're trying to prosecute her corporate fiction. So I realize that anybody is not up to speed on what a lot of this stuff means. Most of the audience listening to this show will be. That might be a mouthful and a big horse-sized pill of information to try to swallow, but maybe more inspiration to study up on the story, because it's absolutely revolutionary. It's 100 million times game. It's just an absolute game changer, and this is what she's in the process of doing now. So this information that Lisa just read is an announcement from Kiri of a march that she's now planning as a result of all the attention that's been given to herself, her case in New Zealand, and what she's doing out there. So literally she has taken the ball and is now running at lightning speed with it, and watch out, because if you stand in her way, she will run right through you.
She's like modern day Joan of Arc, except without the ending. With a better one. Oh, my goodness. Thank you, Brian. That was beautifully said.
Absolutely. Here's what's awesome about this, as far as from my vantage point. How many years ago was it that women couldn't even vote?
Yeah, not that many.
What year was that? I mean, I don't even know what year it was.
Like 1930s or 40s or something like that.
I think it really was the late 1930s when women didn't even have the right to vote. I mean, and then when you combine that with how much women are segregated against in other countries still to this day. I mean, it's really bad, in other countries still to this day. This is part of their culture. And you fast forward here in the United States 60, 70 some odd years, and now you have women running for president. Thank God she never got elected. But as an example, you have all of these amazing things that women are now doing as absolute bona fide leaders. And it's almost hard to even think back of what it could have been like without the amount of power and courage and love and persistence that women now bring to the table, because it's around you every single day, no matter where you look. And to see and witness firsthand things that are happening and new developments unfolding almost on a daily basis, it's absolutely freaking mind-blowing. So, God, I'm great. Everybody that's not grateful is crazy and deserves a backhanded slap across the face, because what you women are doing is revolutionary by every stretch of the word, and it deserves to be gosh, you deserve so much gratitude for all. Celebrated. That's the word I was looking for. So it really is. It's absolutely fascinating and incredible what y'all are doing. So keep up the good work. It's probably the best thing I can say in cliche. I want Hope to talk more about what she's doing. Let me tell real quick. Let me do a little prelude to Hope Girl here. I didn't mean that to be a
that sounded really
it kind of came out wrong.
That was an evil laugh. I'm gonna get you, girl.
I can't say how much I absolutely love Hope Girl. First of all, Hope was kind of like my board of directors advisory board, a counsel and mentor when all the OPPT stuff started coming out, because she has an incredible knack for operations, and her skill sets just go so deep. I don't even run a bunch of this. Very organized mind. And I started up OPPT Ground Crew email address, and I had hundreds of emails pouring in from everybody that wanted to contribute and work toward the cause that we were kind of building. And Hope and I had a nice long conversation. I was here at the library in San Diego, and she was so amazingly awesome. Took probably 2 hours out of her day, and I knew when I first talked to her that this was one of the most amazing and fascinating women I would probably ever meet in my life. And we clicked right away, and it's been like we've been like long lost brother and sister ever since then. And watching what Hope has done with the Fix the World organization, the documentary that her and her team just did that I was able to be a part of, and now watching as she released this post to let people know that her work needed to continue, it needed to be supported, and then watching all the support that flowed in, and the universe really just guiding the way to, in my opinion, shining down and saying, yes, here's the resources that you need to keep going and thrive. And, one person could work 100 lifetimes and not accomplish what Hope has in the last a year. So Hope with Fix the World. I mean, Hope, first of all, I freaking love you. Secondly, if you're not crying, take the tissue box away.
She calls you my brother from another mother.
Yes. Hope, tell us the story of how all that unfolded, because really what it is a beautiful, beautiful story of manifestation and how that works and how it's so powerful, and now what you're going to be doing. And let's spotlight your work a little bit, because it so deserves the spotlight, because it's really has never been done before, and it's such a big piece to the overall puzzle of what this great shift is all about. So, you're absolutely a pioneer, and your story deserves to be told. So why don't you share what you'd like to, or what you feel driven to?
First of all, Brian, I freaking love you too. You know, honestly, I don't think I've ever been pumped up that much. I am so humbled. That's incredible. Thank you very much. But I just want to I want to bring it to a certain point right now. You know, so I'm Hope Girl. A lot of people have heard me before. I have the Fix the World organization. And the journey that I want to tell you about is what the miracle that just happened recently. And there's a really important message, I think, for humanity that would go in so well with the theme of this show, which is bringing joy and choosing joy. So I put out an urgent call for help. This was a few days ago. And basically I got to a point where I realized I had been doing so much work, working so hard. There's hundreds of people that have been latching on to the Fix the World mission, that have come on board to bring their projects out. What we focus on as an organization is just trying to give people the tools, if they choose to use them, so that they can empower themselves to turn their ideas into projects that will change this planet. And we run the gamut of different projects from healing modalities, free energy devices, sustainable communities, alternative education systems. I mean, we basically just have all of these different projects that can help people, and people who have ideas come to us, and we help them to turn those ideas into organized projects. So to touch a little bit on our conversation, Brian, that you and I first had a while back when you were organizing OPPT, I have to say that I feel so honored and blessed, because my personal experience, I spent a lot of years working in corporate and government finance. So I was in the machine. I was working in that corporate role, working for the man, all that other stuff, right? And I played their game, and I played it well, and I realized the game was rigged and you never could win. But I developed a tremendous amount of business sense and skills and talents. I went to school for a long time, and I had a lot of experience in that. And now I blew the whistle at my job, and I lost my job as a result of that. And very shortly after that was the catalyst that caused me to have my own awakening experience. And in this experience, I learned about the truth of the world. And basically, I think that it's a beautiful role that I'm able to play now, and I'm so happy to play, because I'm able to bring my business knowledge and skills and talents from the old paradigm, the business skills that work, the things that are not corrupt, and bring them into this new paradigm, create the new paradigm, and help and assist other people who might not have this knowledge, so that we can share with each other. So that's part of the role that I'm playing right now, and it's a really interesting role to take. And what happened recently, as I got to that point where I realized I had completely run out of funding, and I was working so hard. We were so close to getting an amazing platform launched that's going to enable people to come to the Fix the World website, meet up with other individuals, bring their projects together, network with other people that are of like mind, that can share visions with each other. And this is a global effort. So people can meet up from all over the world, and then also put their projects onto a crowdfunding site, if that's something that you're interested in doing, to allow other people to participate and maybe invest their value or a little bit of their value into your project, whatever that might be. So this was the platform we've been building for quite some time now, and we're like a week away from launching it. And I realized that if I don't come up with $2,000 in 12 days, they're going to shut off my phone and my internet, and the world's going to lose hope. I sent out the call, and within 24 hours, over 150 people all over the world donated triple what I needed. And that's the factual event that occurred. But the energy that came in is the most important part of this entire story, because it's the energy that will flip this paradigm. It's the energy of unconditional love, of humanity saying, we're in this together. I recognize your value. Let me give you some of my value, because your work needs to continue, because it's for all of us. It's making that heart connection with other people. And it's been a few days since this happened. For those who might have heard me on the other radio show with Chris earlier this week, I was pretty shaky during that show because I was still in that moment, because when that happened, I was on my knees in tears most of the day because the power of this energy was so overwhelming, and that's when I realized this is the energy that can flip the paradigm. I've had a few days to really kind of meditate and analyze and take in everything that's happened, and I realized that what happened for me is that I reached a point, and I believe personally that the universe, chose me, or I chose this to play a role and to do it so publicly. I mean, when I wrote that urgent plea for help, I embraced vulnerability in such a public way in front of the entire world, and I basically said, these are all my numbers. I have complete transparency. This is what I need. This is where I'm at. Please help me. And that triggered something in people's hearts, and people gave. And I have to tell you, I've gotten like between 15 to 20 different emails a day of people telling me that they were in tears when they read those posts, that it moved them so much to see such raw vulnerability. And what I realized is that vulnerability is so important. Now, this is a lesson that's come through my experience that I want to share, because I think this is important. We talk about fear. We talk about amazing heroes like Kiri who act in spite of fear, and who go out there and do this. But we do have fear, and that fear is sometimes because we're vulnerable. We don't want to be vulnerable. We want to numb out that vulnerability. And the important thing is that we need to be able to lean into that discomfort of embracing our vulnerability, because vulnerability can be the core of shame and fear and our struggle for worthiness, but it's also the birthplace of joy, creativity, of belonging, and of love. And that is the choice point that I reached in my soul through this experience. When I embraced that vulnerability, the miracle came through, the energy came through, and it blasted through my body like, I think I called it supernova starlight. That's what it felt like. It was unbelievable. So for those people who are listening, and we need to be able to let go of who we think we should be and embrace who we really are. And that's the turning point. That's the catalyst moment. And that's what brings the energy through. Some people call it a breakdown. Others call it a spiritual breakthrough or a spiritual awakening. So I hope I was able to share that with some clarity. And that was my experience. And I'm just telling you.
Start that again.
Well, this is recorded, right?
So amazing. I'm so excited for you. I'm so excited for all of us. I'm so excited for everybody who reached out. I'm so excited for the breakthrough, and I agree with you. It's a breakthrough. And that's something that I'm dealing with too, because I've got some things that I want to do. I'm starting to be pulled in certain directions, and it's like I don't want to help. I don't want to ask for help. But I know that I'm going to.
This is touching on a lot of what was touched on yesterday.
Yep.
Yesterday's show was extraordinary.
Oh wow!
A lot of you just talked about hope. That vulnerability.
You're right.
Feeling completely naked, and exposed, and it's something that we all do and have for a long time run away from.
Right.
Because it's so scary, but. For me personally, recent experiences have shown me just what an empowering place that actually is.
Yeah.
And that I mean, you said it was the birthplace of many things, and you were right about each and every one of them, but it's also the birthplace for me of absolute expansion and creativity as well.
Hey, for Lisa, for anybody that wasn't listening to or hasn't listened to the show from yesterday, you want to give a quick recap? I think it deserves to be shared. You don't have to go, you don't have to give us a discourse or anything, but I actually went back and reread Ginger's notes and went back and re-listened to Lydia's part, because it was so moving and it was so touching. But from your perspective, you want to...
Well, we had a lot of... Everybody except Randy who called in had never called in before. But they have been listening for months. Most of them from, say, the beginning of the year. Some of them even from previous. They've been long TCI listeners. And it was just, I don't know, it was like a family reunion yesterday. People came on and they shared, and everybody who rang exposed their vulnerability, shared their story, poured their heart out. And we were all in tears. Lydia did take us all over the edge.
Oh, my gosh.
It was amazing. And because we started the show
Lydia
with a bag
the angel voice.
Sorry?
Mm-hmm.
Lydia with the angel voice.
The angel voice, that's right. We sort of threw some ideas out there at the beginning of the show, which, as Ginger said, it created the space for people to just open up. And it really emphasized for me how we are a community here at 5D. We're a family. And even though, you know, there are thousands of people out there who have never met physically, people they tune in and hear our voices, and then they tune in and connect with each other on Facebook, and they know they've found their family. And it's so I don't know, gratifying and humbling and incredible. So if you haven't heard yesterday's show, do yourself a favor and go and have a listen. Get some tissues and go and have a listen.
Yeah, it was an incredibly powerful show. And everybody, we do have Chris Hales on now. I want to introduce Chris into the show. Welcome, Chris.
Hi, everybody. Great, excuse me. Great to be here, and I'll second that. Yeah, listen, have some tissues there, and just soak it in, because there was so much energy in that show. And as Lisa said, the people calling in for the first time, you know, that's a big step, actually. That's the vulnerability that Hope was talking about, and they're trusting the people they're communicating with enough to do that.
I was scared to death the first time I called in. I was like, no. I was getting this prompt, and I was like, no. And it's like, oh, yes, you must.
And you went from that to hosting your own show.
I know.
Yeah, that's the way it works. It's brilliant. Yeah. And it's a privilege to be here and working with you guys, and especially to my sister Hope.
Hello, brother Chris.
How are you?
Hey, Chris. First of all, thank you for backing me up here, my man. Bring a little masculine energy. I was telling Lisa. I know what it's like to be.
You know, I'm all for balance, Brian. I'm all about the balance.
We got a nice, good combination of the masculine and feminine now on the board here. Okay, Chris. I kind of started off the call sharing my views on what some of these powerful Wonder Women are doing in the world right now. That's kind of the theme. You want to give your take on that so we can keep pumping these ladies up?
Oh. Yeah. Look, I you know how I refer to Sandy and Kim and her light worker group as Sandy and the Mama Bears? Well, it was about 3 weeks ago. I actually saw a documentary, and it was about bears, and it was about, you know, the breeding habits of bears. And for the first time, my attention was drawn to the fact that the reason Mama Bears are so aggressive is that the male bears will come back and kill the young and kill the cubs to put the female back in heat.
Oh, wow.
A typically selfish act. I agree, but that's where their aggression comes from. They have to be able to physically fend off the male bears to keep their cubs, and it's just a beautiful example in nature of what's going on here. Because if you talk to anybody who's working in, let's just call it the truth movement, the freedom movement, whatever you want to call it, they'll all say the same thing, but especially the women. They're actually working for their families and for their grandchildren and for all families around them, and it's the level of motivation is huge. Now how many kids does Kiri have? 6, 8 kids?
8. Optimum.
We haven't actually asked her why she's doing this yet, but I can guarantee you it's there.
She has said it. She said it's for her kids.
Said it?
Yep.
And you know, that instinct is amazing, absolutely amazing.
I've never seen anybody embody the words that she speaks like she does, other than maybe Lisa and Heather. But oh my gosh, this woman embodies every word. She knows it from so deep inside her soul.
Now, this is not, please don't take this the wrong way, guys, because this is not a male bashing statement by any means.
I'm already offended.
You're already offended. But when Chris brought up the truth movement, the freedom movement things, I mean, for the last 20, 30 years, the gurus in this industry, in this movement, have all been male, except for, say, Mary Croft, who wrote that brilliant book. She was the one female example of doing. And the difference between her even and the other male gurus was that she was doing. A lot of the male gurus were doing a lot of writing and a lot of teaching and a lot of charging for that teaching. But not an awful lot of doing. And Mary was in there, she wrote the books, made it available to everybody for free, and she was walking her talk. And yet now what we've got is a group of women who are exploding onto the scene, and again, they're just doing. They're not out there running seminars and trying to make money and writing books for $100 a piece, and there are people who do sell their books for at least that much. And it's just it's an interesting contrast to observe.
This is basically in service to creation, and that is what I'm seeing with these women that we're talking about.
Indeed, we only have to look at a certain Hope Moore who's on the call here.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. What you're saying, Lisa, it reminds me. I was fortunate enough to travel to Italy when I was 19, and I went to a lot of Italian restaurants while I was there, and I really observed what was going on. And the male head of the family, they were all family restaurants, would stand. He was the maitre d', and he was, acting like he was the one in charge and he was the boss. But if you looked a little bit closer, you see that it was the mother who was running around and doing all the doing in that particular culture, in that particular situation. And I just think of that restaurant atmosphere where, it's like the woman's coming out of the kitchen. She's coming out of doing all the doing, and she's then the man's kind of like jumping in and doing it with her, and I see the balance happening in that way. So I just figured I'd bring that up because that's pretty much what I'm seeing as well, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful to see.
Well, I just saw somebody post on the chat line. It was Simon, and he said the Dalai Lama said recently the Western women will change the world.
Wow, really?
Yeah, I think I've heard that before.
Did you say the Dalai Lama said the Western women will change the world? Is that what you just said?
What I said? Yeah.
I'm sorry.
The Western woman will change. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he did.
That's incredible.
That's a man who knows how to keep his women happy. But I was gonna say earlier, before Chris jumped on. Chris, welcome, by the way.
Thanks, Brian.
That one of the biggest things that I think came out last night, and to touch on what Hope had to share, but with all of our callers that came in, and something that I've always known, but it's always so beautiful to actually see it and experience it, is that truly, without a doubt, compassion lies at the core of every human being. When you strip away all of the societal, cultural programming that school or culture, embeds into people, and everything that they've learned along the way. When you put somebody in a position where they have an opportunity to share their compassion, a lot of times they're gonna take that opportunity to do so. And like for me, I'd like to put myself in positions where I have the ability to go out and be compassionate to people, but I'm always in compassionate kind of scanning mode. I'm always looking for that person that needs a helping hand. It's funny. It's a funny story real quick. I was over at Trader Joe's trying to find a parking spot the other day, and there's it's really hard to find parking at this particular Trader Joe's. And I saw somebody backing up, or they're getting in their car, and I was like, cool, I got a parking spot. And I was watching this little old woman try to push her shopping cart into the little cart bin, but there was this little speed bump that you had to get the wheels over so cars couldn't roll out of it. And she was 1 try, 2 try, and it was just rolling back at her. And it was just this little tiny bump, but it was this little old woman. And so finally I was like, all right, get out of my car. I was like, let me help you with that. And sure enough, while I jump out, like the guy pulls out and somebody else takes my parking spot as I'm helping a little old woman. I was like, hey, I let him have it. But being able to do that, the story isn't about the parking spot. It's about the little old lady that needed help. Being able to do that, being able to help people when they need it, when they need somebody to talk to, when they need some kind of a helping hand or some kind of assistance, and you have the opportunity to do so. When you do it, it feels so damn good, and people eat it up. So, when you're one of those people, and that look what Hope did. She knew in her heart of hearts, in her core, that she's bringing value to the world, and she knew that if being vulnerable allowed people to see to the depths of her soul, to see that her motivations are heartfelt and absolutely sincere, then you give that opportunity to allow somebody else the feeling that they're going to get by helping. Because every single person that helped Hope were empowered because of that experience and the opportunity to help Hope. And when they gave, whether they gave energetically by saying, I love you, Hope, keep hanging in there, even if they didn't have some financial representation of an ability to help her, just sending an email and letting her know that they cared and that they supported her, what is a way of giving energy and giving support that empowers Hope and ultimately empowers the people that do it. So for everybody out there that's listening, that you feel you're like me, it's a lot easier for you to give than it is for you to receive, and you feel, you might feel lingering thoughts of selfishness or something that your ego is trying to convince you it's not right. Let that go, because so many people are just chomping at the bit for an opportunity to help others, and give them that opportunity if you need it. Don't be afraid to ask for it, because now look what Hope has the ability to go off and now do. Her project can go that extra mile, and it can take that extra next step. And who knows what's going to happen tomorrow? But if your intentions are pure, and you're doing things for the best interest of all that is and the best interest of humanity, the universe will support your every step no matter what. Don't let your mind convince you otherwise, because that's the universe's responsibility to help those that need it.
It's interesting, Brian, that you're saying that, and thank you for saying that, and you're absolutely right. This is something that I'm actually working through myself. I had an interesting incident that happened this afternoon that was sparked by a lot of different things, but certainly last night's show, especially when Mark with a C came on. I was driving today. I went to get the back of my hair cut, because I usually cut my own hair, but it's short now, so I need somebody to do the back of it because my eyesight just isn't as good as it used to be. So I drove down, like 8 miles or whatever it is to go to the little place to get my hair cut, and I noticed that there was a new little shop next to it that was like a pulled pork barbecue place, and I thought, ooh, yum, that used to sound really good. It kind of still does. But I went in and I got my hair cut, and that was cool, and I decided, well, I'll go over and I'll just be myself and say, hey, give me a taste test here, because I'm really, really picky with that kind of stuff. Let me see if it tastes really good. And he was so cool. And I did, and it was really good. And I'm thinking, I really don't need to buy this stuff, because the rest of everything else there is like all deep fried and all of this. But he was so cool, and he's like, hey, we have a special today, and it's the pulled pork and the sausage and blah, blah, blah. And I said, so if you can just make it pulled pork, and I'll take like fried okra and this other stuff to go along with it, and a big old huge soda, which I never drink sodas, but I was so prompted to do this. I went ahead and bought it, bought the special, put it in my car, and I was driving back. But on the way there, I forgot to tell you, I saw this young man walking towards where I was coming from, and as I was on my way back, I saw him like about a mile and about maybe 3 miles or so from where he was before. But, what had been 45 minutes or so, an hour, and he was still walking, and he was kind of lumbering walking, and I'm going, I passed him up because I had a whole bunch of cars behind me, but I kept thinking, Mark last night, and he's another manifestation of God in this world. And I'm like, I really need to turn around. And so I did. I turned around and I went back and I tried to find him, and I did find him. And I rolled the window down, and I had a huge truck right behind me. I was like, hold on, mister. Hold on. And I was like, I said, hey, do you need a ride? And he's like, yeah, but I'm going all the way to Mount Airy. And I'm like, you're kidding me. You're walking all the way there. It's like another 25 miles, and it's like in the midday heat. And anyway, I said, hop on in. I'll give you, I'll at least give you a ride to part of the way. And he got in, and
it's a really interesting way to pick up guys, but Judy, go
yeah,
ahead.
well, he's probably 2 years younger than my daughter, so we're probably not going there. I don't even know how to go there anymore.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But anyway, it was a nice thought, though. But it was just really, it was interesting because here I had all of this food sitting there and a big, huge drink. And, I gave him, I had another thing of coconut water, which I love. And I said, here, take some coconut water. You must be absolutely famished. He took a drink of it, and he was like, gross. I'm like, come on, it's really good for you. And he's like, no, I can't drink that stuff. It's nasty.
Oh, I love it too. It's beautiful.
Oh, I love it. And, but I had all of this food, and I was just like, here, take it. And part of it was fried okra, and he's like, yeah, I'm not having any of that. But he loved all the rest of it, and I took him all the way in. And, it was really wonderful. And the whole time I just felt like, this is for you, Mark. This is for everybody out there going through this. Here I am. I don't even have a home. I'm staying with friends right now, and it was just beautiful to me. I was so filled with what I'm usually filled with anyway, but I just felt like this is what we're supposed to be doing. I posted a video yesterday that was so beautiful. It was about some, skater dudes who are usually make off-color videos and stuff like that about planking and all of this stuff, and they decided to change it up, and what they did was they started going out and giving things to the homeless sitting on the streets, and it went all over the internet. I mean, even the people that just pushed it out just from my page were, probably 15 or 20 of them. And I know that it's been all over the internet. And it's something that is going to change the world, all of us doing our own little thing, whatever we can do. And so anyway, that was my little story for the day. But I think a lot, some of it might have even been sparked from last night's show, from listening to Mark and everybody kind of, really giving their stories about being vulnerable.
I really hope Mark's listening to this, because we told him on the spot that he was inspiring others, and there's his feedback. Pretty immediate feedback.
And it's exactly in alignment with all the discussions we've been having about community, and even trying to have people think about what it would be like to have no money. Okay, and you're working entirely from goodwill, and the easiest model to point at that people will understand is to say, look what happens amongst your family. You'll go over to your brother's place and spend a whole day working in the yard. You don't charge for it, because you know that, in a week or two, he'll come and do it for you. It's the same thing. We've been shooed away from that whole concept.
Right. Somebody else will, and I found out while I was talking to this young man that he lives on the street. I live in Maryland, and he's been in West Virginia and Pennsylvania and all these different places all within the last week. And I asked him, I said, if there was nothing blocking you, if there was no money or nobody telling you what you should do or any of that stuff, what would you do? What brings you joy? What would you do with your life? And he said, I'd travel around and I'd meet people. And I'm like, well, God, that's what you're doing. He's like, I know, I love it.
It's to touch on what Chris just said. Also, it's not so far out of the park to think about, because you look at some of these other cultures. Like, I went to the Dominican Republic 2 summers ago to build houses for a humanitarian project out there. We lived in the very third world part of the Dominican Republic that borders Haiti, like outside of a few hours outside of the big city. Some people in the Dominican Republic big city have never gone out this far into the bush, as Chris and Lisa would call it. But we lived in houses with families, so it was almost like I mean, it wasn't like go in, do the work, get in a bus, go to the hotel. We lived in the homes with the families in these villages. Some of them have no cement on the ground. Some of them have no electricity, no plumbing, and it was one of the most beautiful experiences I've ever had in my life. I was literally imagining it as being, oh my God, this is going to be so difficult. It was such a gift to go and experience that culture. You see kids that are walking around in the streets without their moms or their dads. I mean, little kids, 1-2 years old. And these children in these communities they're the children of the community. It's like the whole community rallies together. There's no kidnapping, there's no theft, there's no crime, there's no corruption, and everybody just feels safe all the time because, oh, sorry, I got a train going back really loud. Holy cow. They came, one of the women came back to visit one of the organizers of the trip, who's my old high school teacher. Anyways, she was so blown away. She wanted to go home after being here for like 2 or 3 days of watching. Check this out. This really tripped her out. She watched cars in Northern California drive up to their house, open their garage, drive their car in, and close their garage. And she started asking questions like, "Whoa, they come home, they don't even talk to any of their neighbors," and it's all too common where people they'll live in a community for 5 years and they'll never meet some of their neighbors.
Yeah.
And they're a very front yard community over there. We have our parties and our gatherings in the backyard. They have them in the front yard, so the whole community can kind of band together. And when I was staying there, I didn't speak any Spanish, just enough that I learned in high school, which is very limited. And I couldn't have real conversations with the family that I stayed with for 2 weeks, but I built the closest bond. This was, I called them mom and dad and my brothers and my sisters, in Spanish, of course. But I couldn't, just tiny little bits of small talk here and there as far as what I knew how to say, but they didn't speak any English whatsoever. And this became my family. And it was all nonverbal communication, but there was absolutely so much love. And in this community, everybody, just like Chris said, they help each other. They don't need to be paid for it. They just help each other out of the love and the care, because they live under the philosophy of love thy neighbor as thyself. And when you know that this is happening in parts of the world, and it's done successfully, and you have this community concept, that means that the energy is available, is present to be able to sustain it everywhere. And I think that we, in a lot of cases, looking back on that experience, we're more third world in a lot of ways as far as our morals and our values than some of these actual third world countries. So it's really up to us, the trailblazers, and there's many of us out there that understand the importance of love and compassion, that have the ability to create a new way that revolves around love and it revolves around community. And if you think it's hard, don't make it. Just smile at people when you walk by them down the street. Ask people how they're doing. Strike up conversations at any point. If you see somebody having a bad day, talk to them about it. And just that little act of love, that little random act of kindness, it's multiplied a millionfold energetically into the universe, and every single one of them counts. So don't think you don't have the ability to do it, because we have opportunities around us every day. We're just not necessarily looking for them.
You know, Brian, I just watched a video, it's probably an hour and a half video sometime this past week about a community up close to Tibet. And it was one that had run for hundreds and hundreds, if not longer, years. That was so beautiful, and the interaction. I posted it and I shared it. I'm hoping other people actually got to see it. I think I shared it along some other lines as well. But it was just absolutely beautiful. I can't remember the name of it, but they called it Little Tibet. And it was such a beautifully interrelated community, and everything worked, and they were completely self-sufficient. And they showed everything, and everybody was so incredibly happy. It was like that happiness quotient for Bhutan. And, everybody was just so well interconnected, and communities came together when they needed to for the harvest. And then they partied all winter long because it was so high. Their growing season was so short that, the major work time was during the planting and growing season, and they all worked together beautifully. And then they harvested, and then they just partied all year long, and that's when they had their weddings, or all winter long, and that's when they had their weddings. And then the Western civilization started coming in and building roads and creating these kind of cities and advertising, and you need to be different than what you saw, and we know that what you are. And it started really undermining the whole community, the whole area. And so much so that the next generation, which didn't take long for them to do, I think it was only like 5 or 10 years of taking the teenage boys out of the whole scene and making them want more than what they had, that they ended up corrupting the whole system. And now even those who stayed can't sustain themselves, because so many of them have left. And it was the government who came in and said, we'll give you this cheaper than you can make it yourself, and we'll continue to give it to you until you become completely dependent on it. And then when you become dependent on it, we're going to charge you more, and it's going to be harder for you. And that's exactly what happened. And that's what's happened to the whole world in so many ways. And now I think this is the time that we're really turning around and looking at the whole damn thing and saying, wow, this is not right. This is not right.
Judy, there's a post I put on Facebook. There's a website called positivelypositive.com, and they've got an article called The Health Benefits of Finding Your Tribe. Mm-hmm. And it showcases a particular town. So back in the 60s, when there was a lot of immigrants, especially Italian,
or something like that.
Sorry?
It was Rosano or something like that.
Rosetto, yeah. And a lot of immigrants in one small town, and every afternoon when the men came home from work, predominantly, they would gather together. They'd set tables up outside in their front yards and in the street, and they'd all eat dinner together, and they drank lots of wine, and they smoked, and they did all the things that are technically wrong for you, supposedly. And everyone's doors were always open. People were in and out of everyone's houses. It was community-based from the time they got up in the morning to the time they went to bed at night, and there were no heart attacks. There was no heart disease. This was the healthiest little town in the country.
Right.
And it wasn't until
early 1970s
things started to change. Their kids, when their kids started to move out and go to college and were influenced by that, they may or may not have come home. So the whole multi-generational thing, living 3 or 4 generations in one home, stopped. That started to peter out at least. And it didn't take long. It only took something like 20 years before that town became just another statistic.
Yes.
And it started to meet all the national
It's all about getting the young males.
Wow.
That's what they focus on, the young males, the teenagers. I see it in my son already. They get them to think, because apparently they're the ones that are so easily triggered for something different and change and better and blah blah blah. And so the school system and the whole paradigm of what you can have, this is what you can be, and you can make lots of money and forget about your family, forget about all this. And it really messes the whole thing up. And then you're right, then the heart attacks started coming on, and with no time, by the end of the 70s, their heart attack rates were just right along with everybody else's.
Yeah. You notice that they're picking on the young men?
Yes.
Energetically, the harvestable energy is probably greater than the female population.
Because of the nurturing sense, right?
Well, that and the fact that they're very physical entities. They'll go and do stuff, dig holes in the ground, etc., run around and get themselves shot at. All of those things that have been decimating the young men of this planet for hundreds of years. And I had a really interesting conversation a couple of days back with it was actually with Eva Moore, and I was putting forth my ideas on how we should transition, and she said, give me a template, give me something to understand how they're doing us to it, and how they're doing this to us, and how we can undo it. And we sort of to and fro on that for a while, and the template we came up with was this: it's division. Okay, look at divide and conquer. Okay, but look at the planet; it's divided into, obviously there's continents, but inside there's countries. And inside the countries, it's divided into states, and then smaller states, and you start to get down to communities divided into little sections, and into families, and then if you look inside the families, the divisions inside the families you just spoke very well to, as soon as you get down to community level, the divisions start to multiply out by religion, by politics, by income. By are you a blonde or a brunette? So, and then she said, well, we've got to work down to the macro and the micro. How are we being divided at bodily level? And the conclusion we came to was, well, they're selectively poisoning us to limit parts of our body and our being, so we don't know who we are. And we drilled it right down to the fact that they've separated us from our light bodies and soul bodies. We don't know about these things anymore. Right. So it doesn't really matter where you look, from your body and what's inside your body, and your
fragmentation.
Exactly. Fragmentation right up to planetary level. And the way to fix it is to remove the divisions. Okay, so we need to learn about the light body and soul. We need to learn what foods. We need to learn how to live differently. We need to realize we don't need countries. We don't need governments to tell us what to do.
Right.
And if you
money.
That's where, or money, and money divides us. Look at the ploy. It's brilliant. We've been rounded up and shipped out, folks. We are simply being led along by divisions.
We're being
The brilliant thing about Heather's work is that it wipes out all the divisions in one swoop. Okay.
I want to add a little something to that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Please do have
sorry, there's a car going by, you can probably hear. But you were talking about that division, and in America, I'm sure in many other countries as well, we have this other division too. I want to call it out right now. It's this social status that we think we're supposed to uphold, that has been brainwashed into us, that you live in a family, and then you're supposed to move out of your house, move away from your parents, and then go get a job and have two incomes so you can have your own home, so you can have another life of consumption. And, in other cultures, whole families live together. And in this particular country, there's this social status that we all feel that we need to uphold, where you have to go move off and be in your own home. And that is the division, that's the separation. My family personally, they live all over this country, and I have to get in the car and drive several hours in order to visit any of them. That's how scattered and divided we are, and so many families are like that, and they do that. It's been designed that way because now you've got families that are moving across the country just to find a job, so that they can sustain this life where they have to own a home, a big house with 2 cars, and more than they need, so that they can uphold this social status. And I think that that's part of this big plan that was put into place, that was designed to divide and conquer us and to separate us.
Yes.
Yep. And the solution.
That's sort of back.
Go ahead, Lisa.
It's kind of backflipping on them too, because now we're finding that people are staying at home well into their 20s and sometimes even into their 30s because they can't afford to do that. And it's a whole other problem now. Apparently, if you can't get your kids out of the house,
you're right.
They don't want to move out, and even young couples now are staying at home with their own children, and we're getting back to a multi-generational household because they can't afford to do that.
Yeah, and we're so caught up in this whole paradigm. We divide ourselves. We do it to ourselves. If you listen to look carefully to what Lisa just said, we can't get the kids out of the house. Why are we trying to get the kids out of the house? To train them to go. They're trained to go off and divide themselves up into smaller and smaller things, and we never end up, having a proper family life.
Well, and now we have generations of not knowing how to do that. I mean, that was the thing in this documentary that I was talking about. They had each one of them built their own houses. I mean, the communities would build the house together, and these houses would be huge. I mean, they were beautiful, wonderful houses, 3-story, 2-story, 3-story houses where everybody in every generation lived in the same house. The elderly took care of the babies while the ones that were really healthy in the middle, not that there was anybody really unhealthy, but, everybody in the middle, they all did all of the major work that was going on. And it was such a beautiful, synchronistic kind of lifestyle. And it was, everybody loved living together, and they were so much joy going on. And then then here comes government coming in and saying we're gonna undermine all of this, but we're gonna make you think that this is for your best and highest good. But we know better than that now.
Well, for me, what it boils down to is, people are so wedded and married to their cultural beliefs, their social upbringing. And there was one part in that Mary Croft, to go back to Mary Croft, the book that she wrote that I'm reading now, where it talked about, actually have the quote right here, it's in the very beginning, it's talking about truth, and someone named Alexandra gave it to Buddha when they were trying to let Buddha know that it was his mission to go out into the world and share what he had learned about himself from within, about what the message that he wanted to bring to the world. And there's this quote here, I want to read it because it's really powerful. It says, do not believe on the strength of traditions, even if they have been held in honor for many generations and in many places. Do not believe anything because many people speak of it. Do not believe in the strength of sages of old times. Do not believe that which you have yourselves imagined, thinking that a God has inspired you. Believe nothing which depends only on the authority of your masters or of priests. After investigation, believe that which you have yourselves tested and found reasonable, and which is for your good and that of others. Doubt it is an incitement to research, and research is the path to true knowledge. It's the whole process of allowing people to just even become aware and awake to the idea that so many of the standards that guide the way that people interact with each other, the way that people do business, the way that people, every aspect of their lives is indoctrinated in you from culture and your societal upbringing, and if that's controlled at some higher level for the benefit of the few at the detriment of the many, then people need to, what's happening right now, and a big part of what the divine feminine is really pushing toward, is people to start reevaluating the things that they've grown up to believe. And when people start doing that in mass, I had a comment on a Facebook thread. I was talking about Lisa and Bob earlier yesterday, where I talk about the power is in the will of the people. It's not UCC filings, it's not bank and government foreclosures, it's not courtesy notices or any combination thereof. Ultimately, what it really lies on, the only thing is a mutual combined will of the people to make a change. Because when the people get together in mass and they decide that they want to do something differently, there's absolutely nothing that can stop them. There's no heavy hand of the masters, if you will, that can stop the mutual combined will of the people. And when everybody decides that they want to do something different, it's only an unlimited amount and an abundant amount of infinite possibilities of where you can go with that.
And rant number 3, I believe.
Well, just look at the March Against Monsanto. I mean, that was a prime example of that. that made a lot of change.
Well, it did. And here's something that's really interesting with all of this, because, there's a paradox here. There are paradoxes everywhere. But there's a paradox here because we have been divided and somewhat conquered to some extent, we also have created technologies that, and many, if not most of the absolute best of them, both in science and communication and health and all of this stuff, have been hidden from us because that would give us way too much power. But these things have been created because of this change in a way. So there's that part to it as well. So I think what we can do with all of this now is that we can move into the future with these new technologies that will help us. And I still think that even they are just training wheels to find out what our own technology is within, because I really believe that we'll be getting there too once we start creating things through the power of love. Once we're freed up to actually do what we wish to do what we want to do, when everything else is available to us, and I see this so clearly, we'll be opened up to really doing what we love doing. Imagine everything, and I've said this before, I know, imagine everything being imbued with the power of love. What that will do exponentially to society. That is, I think, when we finally get to the point where we find our own technology and don't need the other. But because we have this, we'll be able to really open up and create a society where we come together again as community and soul community with this new technology. And I think that that's going to be even better maybe than it was before.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about going back to the indigenous ways, and especially here in Australia, but globally. And it's not about, in my mind, it's not about going backwards at all. I mean, there is indigenous knowledge there that is timeless.
Yes.
And that internal technology is what they many of them still remember. But it's about combining the old and the new, and going into a place that we've never been to before. When people talk about us going back to bartering, I mean, that's not going to happen. We've been there, we've done that, and
it's just another form of control, though.
Yeah, and it's very limiting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe we're going to go backwards. We're going to take what is still pertinent and powerful from the past and take it somewhere completely new and different.
Agreed. Excellent.
I agree. Did you want to say something, Chris? I'm going to get ready to start taking calls here, but I would love to have you go ahead and say what you want to say. Sorry.
Just that we should limit ourselves to, in terms of thinking about the new paradigm, we really have to take the limits off. Okay. Otherwise, we've been trained to divide ourselves and create hierarchy and look for a boss. And the single biggest barrier I find to discussing this with someone, if you just put this conversation on someone and says, well, what about a world without money? They immediately start reorganizing a new paradigm. So we're just taking our limitations with us. So really have to turn off the limitations and say, okay, let's just look at our options and choose from the best available right now without any preconceived structural ideas.
And we have to make those.
We really have to build it from the. Sorry, Judy.
I said we have to make those available. Like I've seen the information coming from, I think it's called something. Oh, what is it? The New Way. To me, I mean, it's very simple. It's very, but to me, it's just beautiful. It's elegant, and I love it. And that's the one that keeps sticking in my mind. But that needs to become available, to a lot of people. But you're absolutely right on. I think you're absolutely right on.
And the biggest.
To say something.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I have to add on to what Chris said, because yes, we should take the limits off, but this is the transitionary in me that's speaking right now. Let's take those limits off, but let's start with a loose plan, because that will help us to anchor that energy and manifest what those limitless areas are going to be. So that's what's going to bring us over into that place of, being masters of our existence and not masters of our limitations. So let's just start with a loose plan to get us to where we need to go.
Well, I think that's true, but I think we have to be very careful about what those loose plans are right now, especially when it comes to dealing with an old system, an old paradigm type of thing, especially when it comes with money. Because there are those who cannot wait. I mean, I think that this whole money system is getting ready to be crashed in front of us in hopes that there can be something new and that they're willing to take over and recreate. And my strongest sense inside me says, no money. No money needs to be the way. And I know that it can be done. I know it can.
Yeah, we have to be cognizant of the transitionary aspect of this, because the majority of the population on the planet aren't part of this conversation as yet, and they need the information. And Hope's absolutely right. I'm not saying have no plan.
Right.
I'm just saying don't.
Let plans be fluid.
Is keep that plan loose, keep that plan malleable. I think that's really important to do as well. We need to be very cognizant of any plan that we take forward so that it does not get usurped by the old system, because I think that they know exactly what's going on, and I think that they're hoping that they can find something to put a claw back into. And I think that we need to be smarter than that.
Well, living by the mantra that we don't know what we don't know, and that we're constantly coming into contact with more data, as someone would say. See, that you have to constantly be in a place of accommodating that new data as it comes in.
Right.
Yep. See, I'm to the point now where I don't even believe. I agree with you, Judy, to the extent that that the powers that were, our partners in contrast are constantly looking for ways to usurp new plans. But I don't even think that the energies of where we are right now would even support their ability to do that farther over and above something that's going to get soiled because of exposure of some whistleblower within 24 to 48 hours.
The reason I say it is because I think you're absolutely right with the energies where we are, but there's a huge group of people who don't have the energies where we are going, and they will be, a part of this opening up, and they're going to want to go towards something that they're familiar with, and that will be, if that's, until we can get a lot of other people to understand where we are and open up to these new energies and to let go of all of the stuff they need to let go of, then there is a time frame within this period that is going to be very vulnerable.
They'll want to replace one structure with another structure.
Exactly.
Yeah. Understood, yeah.
They do. That's what I was speaking to, guys.
I hear you.
The tendency to do that.
Absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. And I just think that, it's very possible. Well, to me, I know it's all going to work out because I can already feel it. But there is that tendency, and there are a lot of people that still are not on board with understanding that anything is even going to change. And now we've got all this new information coming out that says in August everybody's going to have their debts wiped. Well, and then what's going to come out of it? We need to be ready.
Yeah, what debts?
But we need to But we need to be ready to come up as the phoenix out of the center of that in some way.
Well, I'm going to be riding the coattails of all you Wonder Women, so just
there you go.
Make us proud.
Yeah, push the big guys aside as we come through.
I've got a seat in my invisible plane for you, Brian.
Sweet.
Well, Brian's going to have a flying car, so.
Oh, yeah,
that's
right.
Lisa, do you have
some callers?
Oh,
sorry?
How about we take some callers?
What was that last question from Chris before we take that call?
I can hear it.
I just wondered if Lisa had her tiara on.
Tiara?
The golden lasso.
Oh, that's right.
Well, it is her birthday, so, a tiara makes perfect sense.
Yeah, happy day out of time, Lisa.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
She gets to do whatever she wishes because she is the woman who is in the day out of time.
She's day out of time and birthday girl.
Yes, Hope. I'm answering your question from the chat.
We're gonna take some callers in a minute, but right now I want to have Hope Girl come in here with a little something for Lisa.
Little ditty.
This is for Lisa. Everybody gets this on their birthday from Hope Girl. Happy birthday, Mrs. President. Happy birthday to you.
Oh, you rock. Thank you so much.
Wow, I'm blushing.
That's awesome. And you know what? Before I take,
I just felt the
go ahead.
wind go up my skirt. There you go.
Lift your skirt. Woo. All right. I'm also going to bring on somebody else before I take some other callers because I'm not sure if they're calling in to sing happy birthday or not. I don't know for sure, but I'm going to bring Jerry on for you as well. So, Jerry girl, you're on, honey.
Yes. Oh, hello.
Hi.
Jones.
Hey, Jerry.
Good evening.
Jerry
Good
has a little
morning.
something for you too, Lisa.
I have something for Lisa, yes. It's still actually in my little notebook. It's not even typewritten. It's still in pencil. So I hope I don't make any mistakes reading my own writing. Lisa. Lisa, we love you. It's your birthday. We celebrate with you this special day. We are so blessed to have you here. Your heart is pure and your mind is clear. We extend to you our appreciation of your kindness and inspiration, your patience and integrity too. We are indeed inspired by you. Love is floating all around. It spreads without a single sound, but you will feel it with mighty power each and every single hour. Blessings to you. Wonderful things are in store. Enjoy this birthday, but there will be more. Know that you are loved, live in peace, and know that this love will never cease.
Woo! I have chills.
Thank you, Jerry.
Jerry, thank you. I have chills all over my body.
Especially for our Lisa. What would we do without you? And since everybody's feeling so good, I'm a little bit ahead of the game with this one, but if we can feel this, we'll get moving even faster. Somebody actually asked me to write a poem about excitement, so this is what arrived. I feel excitement in the air, people joyous everywhere. What's occurred? What's going on? People are bursting into song. Love abounds, vibration is high. It feels like we could touch the sky. Emotions are positive, we start to dance. We move in harmony and balance. The day is here, humanity is free. Peace broke out, and all that we, the people, work for with such intent has come to us. It is heaven sent. We have free will choice and the right to live in harmony and balance so that we can give and receive in cooperation with all on earth, living our lives in joy and mirth. And so it is done. We the people, we are one. We live together in harmony. We do and be, yes, we are free.
Oh.
Yeah,
And that deserves two. Whoop, whoop.
Thank you, Jerry.
Yeah, thank you, all of you. So we are free, let's feel it, believe it.
Be it.
Yeah, be it. We are it.
Is Lisa still there? Is she hugging her box of tissues?
I think Lisa's energy has just taken her offline.
Jerry, that was beautiful, sweetheart. Thank you.
Thank you
so
very
much, Jerry.
Thank you, all of you. Thanks for all your energy.
Girl.
Yeah, thanks.
We love you, Jerry.
I love you too. Love you all.
Thank you, Jerry.
And
Yeah,
Jerry,
thank
don't
you.
forget, you promised me, Jerry,
Yep.
you promised me a poem about shoveling sometime. You
Oh,
need
yes,
to squeeze that one in.
Wait a second. Wait.
That'll be, yeah. We'll
Back
have
that up
a
a second.
bit for that one too.
Did you say about shoveling? Did I hear that correctly?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm confused, but that's okay.
No, it's going to be a surprise.
Okay, cool. All right, we have a couple callers. Let's go ahead and take them. Thank you so much, Jerry. Love you so much. You're a doll.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
All right, talk to you soon.
I'm sure Lisa will be on once she stops sobbing.
Sorry, two things happened then. One was Jerry's poem just had overwhelmed, and I couldn't talk. Thank you, Jerry, so much. And then my internet dropped.
Oh.
Yeah, Jerry, love. Thank you.
Oh, that was just beautiful. All right, are we ready to take another caller?
Absolutely.
Let's go for it. Okay, so we've got area code 661. Area code 661, are you there?
The Skype number, I think.
Hello, area code 661?
Hello?
You've been on hold.
There they are.
Hello?
Oh, it's me?
Is it Randy?
Hello?
Who is it?
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah.
Hi, who is
Hi. This is Eric.
Hi, Eric. How are you?
That's so cool. Oh, that's great. Lots of energy right now. A little bit nervous, but I'm great here.
That's okay.
Just making pizza. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Nice to talk to you guys. I've been listening in the background like a lot of people have been, and like yesterday, I was inspired to actually raise my hand and call over Skype, so it's costing me a little bit, but no, I'm enjoying the show, and it's just amazing where we're taking this all together, and it's a process, so for me it's working through a lot of emotional stuff and a lot of barriers, but these shows are an integral part of my process now, and this is what I do. I listen to the shows.
Bless you. Bless you so much, Eric. Hey, listen, so what brings you joy, Eric? What is your joy?
Actually, when I come to the realization of what we're actually doing and the system we've been living in for so long, and when I have the moments of just clarity, it's just so humorous to me. It's amazing.
That's so cool.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's a lot of things bring me joy, being around my friends and family and just meeting new people, and how everything kind of works out. And I've been a lucky guy, and so I'm just really joyful about where I am and who I have around me and my support. So yeah,
can it get any better, huh?
I'm just feeling so. It's really different once you call in and you start talking and you have that connection. It's a lot different. But when a lot of people, when the people call in, I really feel connected to what they have to say, and I really enjoy everybody's own unique direction. So it's pretty amazing. Thank you for taking my call. I'm in beautiful British Columbia.
Eric, last question. Wonder Woman or She-Ra? Go.
She-Ra.
Oh, this is really bad because I don't even know who She-Ra is.
I was just going to ask the same question.
I've never watched Wonder Woman, just a bit of She-Ra, so that's where I'm going.
Okay, I've watched Wonder Woman, but I haven't a clue who She-Ra is.
Gosh, okay. Captain.
I think it's a generational thing. I'm not sure. I don't know.
Okay. Wonder Woman all the way. I want those bracelets.
Sounds pretty amazing.
Me,
I think that's
Tiger
where we're going.
He says.
Yeah. Eric, thanks for calling in, man.
Yeah, we're definitely going Wonder Woman direction, for sure.
Thank you so much for calling in, Eric.
Oh, thank you. I just wanted to say I really support you guys and just the feminine energy, and I really recognize that within my partner, and just really appreciate what you guys, what the woman has gone through and what she's doing in this moment. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, and
Thanks,
we
Eric.
love you,
I really appreciate that.
and thank you so much for being a part of our energy. It's all it's all interconnected, and it's all important. Every single one of us is important because we're sharing this.
Yes, and I'm going to step out of the background and be more present. I connect with you guys on Facebook, and so I'll talk to you later.
Eric.
There you go.
Looking forward to it.
Okay.
Nice to meet you, Eric.
Pardon?
I said it was nice to meet you.
Pleasure. Namaste. Thank you, guys. Take care.
Eric, hold on. It's Lisa's birthday. What do you have to say?
Oh. I have to say, Lisa, you're just an amazing, funny, inspiring person, and I just, all of you are like already to me are already family. So I just really thank you for being there and doing what you do. So happy birthday, and this is a special day. I'm glad to be here for you and with you. And you guys with me?
Oh, with all of my heart, darling, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, happy birthday. Love you guys.
Love you, Eric. Thank you.
Wow. I was just trying to pull out a happy birthday, and he really kind of laid it off. Nice.
He did it. All right. So we've got another caller here. We've got caller number 336. Hello and welcome. Who do we have?
This is Randy.
Oh, well, of course it is.
That was a premonition. I thought it was
Randy,
Hey.
you are just like magic on this thing. You can get on here no matter what, and I'm so glad you're not that there's no matter what, because we love having you.
It's freaking awesome, I'm telling you.
Yeah, I know. You're magic, man.
Happy birthday, Wonder Woman.
I was actually more
Birthday,
thinking,
Superman.
I'm wondering why.
What was that, Chris?
I wasn't expecting
I was wondering why.
Cool.
Oh, sorry, Randy, I jumped over you there. I was just wondering why, given Kira's appearance in the last week and a bit, why Xena Warrior Princess isn't on the scorecard.
Ooh. Somebody
Can't forget Xena.
Well said.
Absolutely. Somebody did mention that in the chat room.
As they should, yes.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Warrior Princess.
So how are you doing, Randy? What's going on?
I've had Brian's vocabulary and mine have got to be the freaking same ones. We use the same words for everything.
Randy is my brother from another mother, so.
That's right. That's right. I have something to share. You guys started in the show tonight, and I want to read from my book again, if that's okay.
Yeah, go for it. We've got a little bit of time.
Okay. This is from the book Love Without End, written by Glenda Green, which is, like I said before, it's the book I've been reading for the past 13 years, and there's so much in this book that's phenomenal, and every time you guys mention something, it's like I just go straight to it.
Bring it on.
Give it to us, Randy.
Jesus defines judgment as simply separation. He says if you got a bushel basket of apples and you simply pick the good ones from the bad ones, he said that's simple. It's judgment or separation. In the ways of the world, a great deal of energy is spent on judgment, which is nothing less than competition for dominance among invented realities. Judgment is a cruel, childish game of egos competing for position. The sly, unspoken intent is that he who succeeds in sustaining a judgment is above judgment. That is not true. The fact is the ego cannot and will not forgive. Withholding forgiveness is the ego's assault against life. Love does not judge. Only the ego judges, and through judgment it will perish. Your love will sustain your immortality, for love knows nothing of judgment. Man's original sin was judgment. That is the only sin which a pure and innocent soul can commit. The immediate, inevitable, and unavoidable consequence of judgment is separation from the object of your judgment and from God, to the degree that the Creator is also part of that which you have judged. Judgments have a way of expanding and multiplying until separation from God becomes a real and monumental problem. A being in separation is unconscious of his source, and therefore he will endlessly pursue the task of creating himself. Without the long forgetfulness of separation and the many densities of useless identity which result from it, his soul could never be led astray and would never conceive of misdeeds. What the world calls sin is in the long term tragic derivation of the real sin, which is judgment, and its resulting separation from God, reality, and brotherhood. All misdeeds are a sad occurrence. However, to consider them to be the real sin only furthers the problem. If man is to live together in brotherhood, immorality cannot be condoned. Yet to condemn immorality only feeds into the vicious cycle of judgment. This has been man's dilemma. If all judgment had ceased and the spirit of forgiveness had prevailed, man would have returned to his innocence by grace, and my intercession would have not been necessary.
Wow.
Oh, that's
you know,
beautiful.
That's so profound and so right on.
What's the name of that book, Randy, that you got that from? I gotta write that down.
I did. I sent it to you a while ago. Look on our little chat on Facebook because I've got it written down for you.
Okay, well that's way too hard to do. So Randy, what is it?
The name of the website is lovewithoutend.com.
Lovewithoutend.com. Got it. Hey, Randy, I got people that are emailing me and Skyping me like crazy trying to get a hold of you. Do you have an email address? You gave one out last night, I think, to Lisa, but can you give it to me again? Are you willing to share it on the air?
Sure. My email address is nautical, nautical, BLYNC at AT&T.net.
BLINC? B as in boy, L Larry?
BOYNC. No.
BOYNCE?
NC, North Carolina. NC. Nautical Boy, North Carolina.
Oh, boy.
Sandy, are you a sailor?
NC, okay.
Okay, got it.
Well, actually, I work with water as my living, and I've always been attracted. I like ships and lighthouses and things like that, so it just goes with me.
Cool.
Waterman. Nautical Boy
Very
NC, was it at Gmail? I'm sorry, Randy, I was trying to figure out the first part.
At AT&T, at AT&T.net.
Not .net. Cool. Randy, stop being so freaking awesome, man. Just quit it. Cut it out.
You guys are awesome. You just allowed all this to happen.
Randy, that was so awesome. Thank you so much. And please come on next week and bring another one of those because those are just brilliant.
Okay,
we need to have Randy as a Randy. We're gonna one of these days we're gonna bring you on and you're gonna be our guest and you're gonna be on the whole show.
All right.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, there it is.
So much, guys.
Thank you so much, Randy. Love you so much.
See you, Randy.
Love you guys.
Thank
too.
you, Randy.
Bye, Randy.
Thank you, Lisa.
Bye.
Happy birthday.
Bye, Randy. And
Thank you, darling.
Lisa has an announcement to make too, so let's go ahead and go with that for now.
Oh, okay. I was asked, there's a lovely woman by the name of Eileen Meyer. She's a clairvoyant and a light worker, and she's just gorgeous. And she has a beautiful website called adaptingtograce.com. And her one of her sisters, anyway, has gone missing. Yes, it's her stepsister. And she's been missing now for about a week. And Eileen has just asked if we could send some energy, basically, send some light her way, and so that this is resolved as quickly as possible, and this lovely lady is found. You can go to adaptingtograce.com if you want to check out what Eileen does. She's actually got a beautiful post that went up recently about going through the fire. She talks, at this time that we're all going through, and it really did. It was funny because I saw it yesterday after yesterday's show, and I thought she did a beautiful job of expressing what a lot of people on the show were expressing yesterday. But anyway, I just wanted to put a call out for her to show her some support. And
what's her sister's name?
Getting a positive resolution. I don't actually know what her sister's name is. She hasn't gone public with that. It has reached the news in Los Angeles that her sister's gone missing. But anyway, shout out to Eileen and
lots of energy sent out to the safe return of her sister.
Eileen Meyer. Okay, done. All right, everybody, take a second.
That's cool. Thank you.
Okay.
Hope Girl, honey, you've been really quiet in the background, sweetie. Come on out.
I'm here. I had to mute myself out so many times because I was like in stitches laughing, and I knew that if I didn't mute myself, then nobody else would hear the jokes because.
When I think of Hope on the other end of the phone, I think of her as like dancing to like the beat of the drum in her own head, just like constantly, kind of snapping her fingers in the background.
That's because you saw my belly dancing video, Brian.
She is a multi-talented woman.
Wow,
yeah.
I just watched that video.
So the all singing, all dancing, hope of the world.
Hey, real quick, I have a real quick announcement. Since while we're on the topic of announcements, we have 15 minutes left. If anybody is interested, we have a responsibility here at 5D Media Network. We have to take notes of the show and share them for the archive after. If anybody would like to be the volunteer ginger snap of this show and take some notes, doesn't have to be a lot, a couple paragraphs on what we talked about, what we covered, that would be awesome, so we don't have to try to take notes as we go, because that would be difficult. Then drop me an email or say so in the chat. My email is briankellysblog@gmail.com. We'd be forever grateful.
Yes, forever grateful. That would be so wonderful. So anybody willing to do that, that would be phenomenal. We're in need of a little assistance here. So it looks like lots and lots of people are going through major changes right now, shifts, movement. Everywhere I look, people are either leaving jobs and moving to new ones, making major internal changes, making marital changes, making, I don't know, it's like the people that I'm faced with every day when I go out, not that I go out every day, but weekends, whatever, people are going through huge changes right now, and I think it's absolutely necessary. I think it's the shift that we're moving through. Everybody has to go through some sort of change, and I think it all eventually comes right down to the core of who we are, comes right down to the center of our own being. And what do you think about that?
Well, let me add to that. Yes, I mean, it's wonderful and it's necessary, but it's not always pretty.
It's not always pretty.
You know, it's not always pretty. Sometimes it really hurts, but it's part of the process, and it's part of embracing who we really are rather than who we want to show the world that we are. I mean, I mean, personally, I've seen a lot of people going through this process, and it's amazing. I call it the blossoming. People call it the awakening.
I like that.
I like to call it the blossoming. You know, in my past, I've had a few experiences where I was a teacher. I was a dance teacher, and I would watch women come into a dance class, and I would teach them some moves, and they would come in and they wouldn't have a lot of confidence in themselves. And then by the end of the season of dancing, they blossomed and into their confidence, into themselves, and into who they were. So it's a beautiful, amazing experience. But when that flower of who you are is opening and blossoming, sometimes there's some stuff in the way, right? You've got some crap from your past. You've got issues that you have to purge out. And so right now what I'm seeing with a lot of friends that I know, that there is some purging going on. And sometimes that's not very pretty. So I just want to encourage everybody to just be aware of that process and to embrace it, to lean into the discomfort of that and embrace it, because that is part of who you are as well, and it's okay. And you know what? This too shall pass. And it's always darkest before the dawn, and all of those beautiful sayings, because it's part of the awakening process.
It's all necessary. Every single bit of it is. We must go through the darkness to get through the dawn, and the darkness can feel like pain until we find out that it doesn't have to feel like that anymore.
Why are you laughing, Lisa? I agree completely.
Hope just helped me solidify a thought that's been playing around in my head for a while, but and that is that I'm a mystery to me.
I love it.
The changes that have gone on within me over the last few months had nothing that I could have predicted. I had no idea what they would look like. But the idea that I am in a constant state of growth and expansion, and I really don't know what's next.
Right.
And that even I'm an adventurer in discovering who I am, that it's a constant mystery, is just so exciting and so freeing. And if I ever get to the point where I say I know who I am in a box, I don't mean in the way that, say, Kiri, we talk about Kiri, she knows who she is. That's not what I mean by that. She does know who she is. But in terms of, say, what I'm capable of, or what I am.
Your self-prescribed identity, if you will.
I hear what you're saying. It's like if I say this is who I am right now and that's all I'll ever be, you close yourself off to all possibilities that happen. And
put a pillow over my head if I say that, please.
Yeah. This is a timeless time right now. It's like even hard to figure out what time of day it is, let alone what day it is and what week it is and all of that stuff, because time is so malleable to our thoughts. There really is like almost no prescription for any of this. It's just what do we make of it and how much are we willing to expand within it continually.
Mm-hmm.
And I've noticed that you go through. I mean, just my personal experience with this process is over the last year for me. I mean, I'm a baby at this. You know, some people have been on this path for decades. It kind of comes in stages. It's almost like
it matters how long these days.
Yeah, it's an energetic thing because it's happening across the planet right now. So it's definitely mass consciousness and you know the oneness of all of us, and people are awakening at a rapid pace. What I've noticed is that it happens in stages sometimes. It's like it's an upward spiral. That's what it is. So it's like you'll go through a process. Sometimes it's painful, sometimes it's joyful. It's just, you know, emotions and the awakening of who you are. You go through a process, and it usually comes out in 3D events, like, you know, a fight with a loved one, or something happens that's great and wonderful. I mean, there's triggers that bring these feelings out of us and open up our heart chakras. So and then, you know, it's this huge, overwhelming emotional event, and then it just kind of rests for a little while because you need a breather, and then it comes again a few days later. I mean, this has been for me personally, and I'm sure that other people have been experiencing this too, where there's like one or two incredibly intense days energy-wise, whether it be good or bad energy. It's just energy, and it's moving, right? And then a couple days go by, and then it's kind of like there's this silence in the air. And there are answers in that silence.
Absolutely.
And, you know, for me, I meditate every day, several times a day. I go within as much as I can. And when those moments of silence come around, which these days have been getting fewer and far between because of how busy we're all getting, you know, I look for those answers, and I always find them in those moments of silence. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm saying that it's really it's like it's different for everybody. There's no one prescription for any one person. I'm seeing all different kinds of people having all different kinds of and I've been through it myself. I've been through this what feels like a sine wave, up and down and up and down and up and down until late December, January, and I had a way down way down movement. And then all of a sudden, you know, since mid-January, I've been pretty up all the way through. But before that, you know, I've been kind of on this quote-unquote path for many, many years, certainly in major intent for at least the last 13 or so. And I just think everybody has, I mean, I've seen people who have awakened 4 months ago and are more, you know, they see things more clearly than I do in ways. So there really isn't any prescription.
I think that once you realize that it's a constant process of discovery, then you really open yourself up to rediscovering everything you know about yourself and everything in the universe every single day. You know, that's a really hard thing for people to wrap their head around. I mean, we've talked about it on previous Blog Talk radio shows about wetting your mind or committing your mind too much to any particular set of beliefs, whether it be about something about yourself, someone else, your surroundings, the universe, whatever it might be. Because when you're constantly in a state of discovery, then you're allowing the process to evolve moment by moment. Because this moment, what we're guaranteed in life always is going to be nothing like the next moment in some way. And
unless you choose it to be. you can choose to take everything behind you right into the now, or you can choose to let it go and be completely naked in the now. I know I keep saying that naked thing. I don't like it, whatever. But
well, sure, you can pick things that are working for you and bring them on. Absolutely,
well, you can,
absolutely.
But it's the negative stuff that people think that they don't realize it's negative, and it's like the old stories that they bring along with them, and it keeps them from moving forward.
Well, yeah, but even on another level, negative is even just a judgment, negative and positive.
True.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree with that. But just touching on what Lisa was saying, it definitely makes life a whole lot more fun when you have the ability to discover things anew all the time. And man, is that not what makes life the greatest adventure?
I think that's the key. I think that's the magic. And thank you, Lisa.
I'm just having the best adventure. I really am. In every area of my life, including within myself.
Absolutely.
Just awesome.
Stop having so much fun, Lisa. Damn it, it's your birthday.
It just keeps getting bigger and better. I love it.
No, it's a choice. It's all a choice. It's like, is it an adventure, or are you a victim of all of the things that are like slapping you around? It's an adventure, but you have to choose that.
Well, they do say that when you expect a bitch slap coming, you're much more likely to receive one.
For sure. For sure.
Or as Sarah would say, a wink slap. Yeah. Do we have any more callers? Because we're running down to 5 minutes.
No, I think I got both of them. Three of them. So no, I don't see that we have any more callers. Wish we did, but it'd be cool.
Cool.
But that's okay. We've got about 4 minutes left. So Hope Girl, why don't you come on in, and Lisa?
Yeah, do some closing thoughts around the board.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Well, Judy, I'd like to call you Joy. I'd like to call you Joy Girl, so we can have Hope Girl and Joy Girl.
Joy Girl, I want you. I'm loving it.
And
that's
and
gonna stick. And
we both need Wonder Woman capes.
A big H and a big J.
And I love being naked in the now. I just don't know how much my neighbors love it, but I do.
I've actually got a vision of you two sitting at your computers stuffing.
Just a lead.
I hope you have
Thanks for that.
A different view than normal, whatever. But anyway. It'll be my 5D self.
Well, if you want a vision of us sitting in front of the computer, just turn on the webcam, right? So we're good to go. But no, I promise everyone I am dressed, even though I love being naked in the now. So no, but I want to say how much fun this has been. It really has been a blast to be on here and to just share in this joy. We need to keep creating this joy. And Judy, I love what you say about how it's a choice, because I can tell you that in my life, there are those choice point moments where it's like I can choose to react to this situation in one way, or I can choose the path of joy. And sometimes it's a real challenge to do that. But the more often I've done it,
right.
What'd you say?
It's react or respond.
Exactly. So thanks so much for having me. It's been such a pleasure.
Thank you so much for coming on. I hope to have you on again soon.
Thanks, Hope.
And Lisa, tell us words of wisdom. And hold on, Hope, because I think that you and Brian and I in the last minute here really soon should sing happy birthday to Lisa. And I am not a singer, so God bless you, Lisa. I might want to put the headphones on.
Well, no words of wisdom. I just want to say a big thank you. There's a few people saying that they'd love to be able to sing me happy birthday, but trust me, I can feel it. I really can.
Yeah, look, I'll give you. Go, Lisa.
Well, I just wanted to say a thank you for each and every one of the people in the chat room who have expressed what they've expressed today. Thank you so much. It's been an amazing day, and it is the day at a time for me here in the 25th, yes. And will be for many of you tomorrow. So take a moment, the day at a time. It's for being creative and being in a space of love. So just be mindful of that today.
Your love is so palpable, and the depth of your love is so palpable all over the waves, all over this world, and I just thank you so much.
All right, last 10 seconds. We love you, everybody. I don't have any words of
Love you
wisdom. I
all.
already did mine all. Happy birthday, Lisa. Thank you, everyone, for listening, and we will see you next week.